This is such a week-to-week league. The NFL is a week-to-week league. No other professional sports league in the country changes more on a weekly basis than the NFL does. One week, you're on top. You appear that you are unbeatable. Nothing can stop you. And the next week, you look like one of the worst teams in the league. Just think about it. Last week, we were talking about the Giants being a threat in the playoffs, the best team in the NFC East. Now, the Redskins are atop the division, and the Giants are at a high risk of not even making the playoffs. The Raiders, they're done. New England, they were rolling the past couple of weeks. People were talking about the possibility of the Patriots making the playoffs. Now, of course, we here on this channel, we never bought into that fantasy because New England is incapable of throwing the football. I told you guys that if the Patriots found themselves down big, that they didn't have the firepower to come back. And that is exactly what happened Thursday night against the Rams. Let's go ahead and jump straight into what's real and what's fake from this past weekend. And for those of you that are new subscribers, we gained, I think it was about 30 over the weekend. I appreciate the support. But for those of you that are new to the channel, what we do here every Tuesday is we take headlines from the weekend and we determine what's real, or what I agree with, and what's fake, or an overreaction to something, or just outright stupidity. First up this week, Jalen Hurts shows that Carson Wentz was the Eagles' biggest problem. Fake. I got this from the Philadelphia Inquirer. This is one of those prisoner of the moment type articles from a member of the media who's supposed to be objective, supposed to take the emotion out of it. I don't want to take anything away from Jalen Hurts. He was phenomenal in his first start with the Eagles against the number one defense in the league. I helped one of my friends run an online sports book. Both he and I have been betting on the NFL for 20 years. We both abide by the same rule when looking at NFL lines. Always bet on the backup quarterback, especially one that's making his first career start. Especially also if he is a mobile quarterback like Jalen Hurts. How many times have we seen this in the NFL? A team is struggling. They make a quarterback change. All of a sudden, they look like a brand new team. Sometimes a new voice in the huddle can bring a team together, provide that spark. We've talked before about Carson Wentz not being the most popular guy in Philadelphia's locker room. But that doesn't mean that he is the Eagles' biggest problem. It's obvious to me what the biggest problem is in Philadelphia. They can't keep anyone healthy. They can't keep anyone on the field. The Fox broadcast team on Sunday, they actually made mention of this in the second half. At one point in the third quarter, on consecutive plays, they lost two starting cornerbacks and a starting defensive lineman. I believe the total number after the game was over was 6. The Eagles lost 6 players to injury on Sunday alone in one game. What in the hell is going on with the training or the medical staff in Philadelphia? This has been an ongoing problem for 2 straight years. Something is not right. It isn't normal to have injuries this consistently. It's kind of starting to remind me of the Anthony Davis era in New Orleans. The Pelicans, when Anthony Davis was there, they were never healthy. Then they hired David Griffin. He comes in, hired all new medical and training staff, and the injuries began to subside. They have got to do something about this in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz. If the rest of the team can't stay healthy, they're going to continue to struggle. They're going to continue to lose games. That is the biggest problem in Philadelphia, not Carson Wentz. All right, let's get to the other quarterback in that game Sunday. Next up, Taysom Hill has shown everyone that he is an NFL quarterback. Fake. I got this from KSL Sports. And to be fair, this article was posted over the weekend before the Saints-Eagles game. I say it on here all the time. Statistics can be misleading. If you looked at Taysom Hill's stats on Sunday, on paper, he had a good game. He had a great game on paper. 28 of 38, completing nearly 74% of his passes, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating 102. That's a great game, right? Wrong. Taysom Hill was absolutely god awful against the Eagles. He put together 2 good drives the entire game. The rest of the game was a complete struggle. I haven't been high on Taysom Hill since the beginning, from the past month or so. Now, I defended him after that game against Denver. A lot of people criticized him for that bad game, but he did exactly what Sean Payton wanted him to do against the Broncos. So I defended him on that. However, I criticized Taysom Hill last week in that game against Atlanta. And I'm even more disappointed in what I saw from him on Sunday. He was exposed against the Eagles. And it's legitimate to question now whether Taysom Hill can be the long-term answer at quarterback in New Orleans. I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment here. I mean, it's just one game, but Taysom Hill, he can't negate a pass rush. The Eagles brought consistent pressure on Sunday, and Taysom Hill had absolutely no answer for it, which makes no sense. You're supposed to be a dual-threat quarterback, supposed to be able to make people miss with your legs. Instead, he took sack after sack, bad decision after bad decision in the face of that mounting pressure. What's been overlooked in the 3 wins before Sunday is the fact that the Saints' defense has been the reason that they were winning, not Taysom Hill. The Saints' defense won those 2 games against Atlanta, especially the one last week, where Taysom Hill absolutely fell apart in the 4th quarter. He has yet to put together 4 full quarters. He either struggles to get rhythm going early, comes alive in the second half, or you have a game like Sunday, where he struggled pretty much the entire game. Either way, with Taysom Hill running the Saints offense, I always feel like I'm waiting on that back-breaking mistake to happen. And it always does. That performance against the Eagles was inexcusable. And not just from Taysom Hill, from the Saints as a whole. Now, I realize that Taysom Hill is only 4 games in as a starter. But like I mentioned a second ago, by the second half, the Eagles were decimated defensively. They lost Darius Slay, lost another starting corner, and Taysom Hill couldn't take advantage of it. He couldn't make them pay. You can see it at times with Alvin Kamara, that he is visibly frustrated with Taysom Hill. Kamara has been ineffective the last 4 weeks, but that's because he's not getting touches. He's not getting the ball. No one is more ready for Drew Brees to return than Alvin Kamara. I hope that Sunday opened the eyes of Sean Payton, that maybe, just maybe, Taysom Hill isn't the successor for Drew Brees. Now, do I think it did? No, I don't. One bad game is not going to convince Sean Payton. But I have serious doubts that this guy can be a long-term quarterback in this league. Now, me personally, I hope the Saints go after Matt Stafford this offseason. This offense is designed for a precise pocket passer. That is not Taysom Hill, even though Sean Payton is trying to make him be that. It's just not who he is. This is a Super Bowl caliber roster in New Orleans. The Saints are loaded. But that window is closing. Cam Jordan's getting older. Demario Davis getting older. These guys don't have time next season for Taysom Hill to learn how to play quarterback. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. Maybe we'll get to that later this week. Next up, Mitchell Trubisky is back. Fake. Big time fake. I got this one from The Guardian. I literally, when I read this morning, I laughed out loud when I saw this headline. It was one of the first articles that came up when I searched for Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I knew after the game Sunday, the game that he had against the Texans, I knew there was going to be someone claim that Mitchell Trubisky's back. First of all, back from where? Where's he been? Mitchell Trubisky has never been considered one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. So, where's he back from? He had one great game. One. That's it. Mitchell Trubisky will be forever tied to Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Drafting him over those 2 quarterbacks is going to go down as one of the biggest blunders in the history of the NFL. So it was a nice moment for Trubisky to get, I guess, revenge, for lack of a better word, over Deshaun Watson on Sunday. It was a nice moment. But one great game doesn't erase 2 or 3 years of piss-poor play from Mitchell Trubisky. He's not back. He didn't save his career Sunday. He's not going to be the starter in Chicago next season. Not if Matt Nagy wants to keep his job. Sunday didn't change anything in terms of the future of Mitchell Trubisky. Yahoo Sports posted an article about the Bears' big win, raising questions over Matt Nagy's decisions to bench Mitchell Trubisky in the first place. Now, it's funny how quickly people tend to forget things. Did they forget about the 11 bad games he had back in 2019? What about the 3 straight terrible games that he had to start this season? Matt Nagy didn't have a choice. At the time, the Bears were undefeated. He had an undefeated team in Chicago with a great defense and an offense that was stagnant. He needed a spark, kind of like the Eagles needed a spark with Jalen Hurts. And Nick Foles gave that to Matt Nagy, at least for a couple of weeks, until everything fell apart offensively in Chicago again. Now, I don't know if Matt Nagy is going to be coaching the Bears next season. I don't know. There are reports surfacing that both he and GM Ryan Pace are on the hot seat. But I can tell Matt Nagy a quick way and an easy way to guarantee that he loses his job in Chicago. Tell the brass, tell management that you're naming Mitchell Trubisky the starting quarterback next season going forward. You will be fired on the spot. All right, next up. The Steelers' problems are not new. They've simply gotten worse. Real. And I want to add a little caveat to that. They've simply just been exposed. I got this one from The Ringer. Now, I've been down on the Steelers all season. We have talked about them a couple of times throughout the year, but lost in their 11-0 start was the myriad of problems that the Steelers are facing. Big Ben is aging before our very eyes, and he is nowhere near the quarterback that he was in his prime. One of the things that made Ben Roethlisberger so effective was his ability to keep plays alive in the pocket long enough to get receivers open deep down the field. Now, the problem now is he can't hit them when they're open deep because he can no longer throw the deep ball. And if he does hit a wide open receiver downfield, his receivers drop the ball. We saw it on the first play of the game Sunday night. Dante Johnson is wide open on a screen pass. He drops the damn ball. Next series, 3rd and 7. Johnson is wide open across the middle of the field. Easy first down. Drops the damn ball again. And it's not only Deontay Johnson. Eric Ebron, all of a sudden, has forgotten how to catch the football. Chase Claypool, who was on fire early in the season, he has fallen off the radar. He's caught just 11 passes the last 3 weeks for 105 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster, supposedly the Steelers' best receiver, hasn't had a 100-yard game all season. He's averaging a career-low 8.3 yards per reception this year. The main problem with the Steelers offensively, they're one-dimensional. They are so bad running the football that sometimes they don't even make an attempt of it. 4th quarter against the Bills Sunday night. 1st and goal, they're at the Bills' 3-yard line. They line up in an empty formation. They're not even trying to pretend that they might run the football. Since week 7, the Steelers have rushed for over 100 yards once. They were averaging 58 yards a game on the ground during that stretch. Pittsburgh has adopted this quick passing game, the same thing that Sean Payton and Drew Brees have done in the past few years in New Orleans. The difference, though, between the Saints and the Steelers, New Orleans runs the ball effectively. They're one of the better running teams in the league. So they can fool defenses on play action. They can keep them honest. The Steelers can't do that. No one is fooled by what Pittsburgh is doing offensively. Defenses can just drop everyone back into coverage and keep everything in front of them because they know the Steelers can't beat them on the ground. The Steelers are in trouble. I'm telling you right now, Pittsburgh is in trouble. Big Ben's falling apart. Hasn't had a quarterback rating over 100 the last 4 weeks. They have been held under 20 points 3 straight weeks. The turnovers are beginning to happen with more frequency as defenses have figured out that Pittsburgh is one-dimensional and Big Ben has started to force things. We saw that late in the 4th quarter Sunday night on that interception he threw. This is not a Super Bowl team in Pittsburgh. Now, they've got a Super Bowl caliber defense, but they are dreadful offensively. They benefited early on from their schedule. Now look at what's happened the past 3 weeks when they have went up against elite defenses. They barely beat the Ravens, who had RG3 as their quarterback. And then they lost to both Washington and Buffalo. And then speaking of the defense, their elite defense, they're beginning to get banged up. They're starting to lose guys to injury. Devin Bush out for the season. Vince Williams is on the COVID list. Bud Dupree is lost for the year. Joe Hayden missed the Bills game Sunday night. This team is showing vulnerability at the worst time of the year. For 3 months, people thought that the Steelers were unbeatable, even though there were cracks in this foundation. Now, this looks like a team who could go 1-2 to close out the season. With what we have seen the last 2-3 weeks, you think the Steelers has a chance to beat the Colts or the Browns? I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that. The Steelers not having a chance to beat the Cleveland Browns. But these are two teams that are headed in opposite directions. Cleveland has been rolling the past few weeks. And the Steelers, they can't seem to find the end zone. That's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Was Carson Wentz the problem in Philadelphia this entire time? Is Taysom Hill a franchise quarterback? Are the Steelers in trouble heading into the playoffs? Are they Super Bowl contenders or not? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.